The mysterious photo of JonBenét Ramsey. One of the last known photographs of JonBenét Ramsey has sparked intense debate online, as many claim that a mysterious woman in the background bears a striking resemblance to Ghislaine Maxwell. This discovery has led to speculation and theories about a potential connection between the two figures, further deepening the mystery surrounding JonBenét's tragic and unsolved case. The idea that Maxwell, known for her connections to powerful elites and her role in Epstein's activities, could be present in such a significant photograph has left many questioning whether there is more to the story than what has been publicly revealed. The photograph in question, widely circulated on social media and groups that investigate mysterious events and coincidences, appears to show JonBenét smiling in the foreground, while in the background, a woman with Maxwell's distinctive features is partially visible. Her dark hair, facial structure and demeanor have led many to believe that this is not just a coincidence, but a clue that has remained hidden in plain sight for decades. The image has reignited interest in the case, with people dissecting every detail to determine whether the woman is, in fact, Maxwell, and what her presence could mean. One of the most unsettling aspects of this theory is the possibility that JonBenét's case could be connected to a larger network of influential figures. Some believe that if Maxwell was indeed present in JonBenét's life, it could suggest that she was entangled in something far more sinister than what was originally suspected. Maxwell's known history and their ties to powerful individuals worldwide have led some to question whether JonBenét's case was mishandled or intentionally covered up to protect certain people. Theories surrounding what happened to JonBenét's have always been controversial, with speculation ranging from a botched ransom to more elaborate and disturbing scenarios. The alleged presence of Maxwell in this photograph adds yet another layer to the case, suggesting that it may not have been an isolated incident, but part of something much larger. Those who support this theory argue that the connections between high-profile individuals and unsolved crimes are often overlooked or dismissed due to their implications. Skeptics, however, argue that the resemblance to Maxwell could be coincidental, with no solid proof that she was actually involved. They claim that the grainy quality of the photograph and the angle of the woman's face make it difficult to confirm her identity with certainty. Despite this, the idea that a figure as infamous as Maxwell could be linked to JonBenét's case has been enough to fuel further investigation and discussion. Metadata shows the FBI's raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was likely modified. The United States Department of Justice recently released nearly 11 hours of what it described as full, unaltered surveillance footage captured near Epstein's prison cell during the night before he was found in distress. The intention behind the release was to bring transparency and put an end to widespread speculation surrounding his final hours in federal custody. However, instead of easing public concern, the video's release has raised even more questions, particularly regarding the authenticity and handling of the footage itself. Upon close examination, metadata embedded within the video files revealed that the footage was not a direct export from the prison's original surveillance system. Instead, analysis by independent video forensic specialists and reports from Wired suggest that the video had been altered or processed using Adobe Premiere Pro, a professional editing software. The files were also shown to be stitched together from at least 2 different sources and then saved multiple times before finally being exported and uploaded to the Department of Justice's website. This discovery is significant because the department presented the footage as raw, implying it was untouched and presented exactly as recorded. In reality, the metadata indicates that some level of editing or processing took place before it was shared with the public. While experts are quick to clarify that this does not necessarily prove tampering or intentional deception, the absence of any official clarification leaves room for concern. Some video professionals suggest the footage may have simply been edited for technical reasons, such as combining clips or reformatting for public accessibility. It is not unusual for agencies to process sensitive video content before making it available to the public. However, given the sensitive nature of the case and the surrounding controversy, transparency regarding such changes becomes essential. The lack of explanation about why professional editing software was used or what specific alterations may have occurred has amplified public skepticism. Without clear communication from authorities, even minor or benign changes to the video can appear suspicious. In a case already mired in uncertainty and speculation, the ambiguity surrounding the surveillance footage is likely to deepen doubts rather than resolve them. This development is particularly concerning because it touches on public trust in institutions responsible for overseeing high-profile individuals and cases. Any suggestion that video evidence may have been edited, especially in a case that has garnered global attention and drawn scrutiny from political leaders, celebrities, and the public alike, deserves careful and open explanation. Failing to provide a transparent account of how the footage was prepared risks undermining confidence in official narratives. Ultimately, while there is no confirmed evidence that anything sinister occurred with the processing of the footage, the circumstances highlight the importance of transparency and accountability. When handling material as sensitive as prison surveillance video in such a high-profile case, even small technical details matter. The use of editing software, regardless of intention, should have been clearly disclosed from the beginning to prevent confusion or mistrust. In the absence of such clarity, the mystery surrounding this case is likely to persist, fueled further by questions that remain unanswered. The chilling connection between national park disappearances and America's cave systems. Over the years, hundreds of people have vanished without explanation while exploring the vast wilderness of the United States, particularly within the boundaries of national parks. While many of these disappearances have been attributed to accidents or natural hazards, a growing number of independent researchers and online communities have begun to question whether there is something far more unusual at play. One chilling theory gaining traction suggests that many of these vanishings may be connected to the country's underground cave systems, an expansive network of largely unexplored terrain hidden beneath the surface. Maps showing the distribution of missing persons cases in the US have been compared with maps outlining the locations of known cave systems. What some have found is a startling alignment between the two. The overlapping regions, often near national parks, rugged mountain ranges, and deep forest areas, have raised questions about whether the caves play a more active role in these disappearances than previously believed. In numerous accounts, individuals have gone missing near known cave entrances or within areas rich in subterranean features, only to never be found again. Even more unsettling are the cases of those who do return but are unable to recall the details of where they were or what happened during the time they were missing. These strange circumstances have fueled theories that caves may be more than just geological formations. Some believe they may be linked to phenomena not yet understood, whether that includes disorienting natural forces, hidden chambers, or even portals to unexplored regions beneath the Earth's crust. Several researchers have taken it upon themselves to dig deeper into the mysterious link between missing persons and caves. However, many of these individuals have reported eerie encounters with unknown figures who appear determined to halt their investigations. In multiple cases, these researchers claim to have been followed, warned, or even directly confronted by men dressed in black who refuse to identify themselves but strongly urge them to stop asking questions. Some have received anonymous phone calls urging them to abandon their work, while others report having their equipment tampered with or finding strange individuals loitering near their homes. The pattern is always the same. Those who look too closely at the connection between caves and disappearances are told to walk away. These intimidation tactics have raised even more suspicion, with many wondering why authorities or other groups would want to suppress information if the cases were simply unrelated outdoor accidents. The presence of these unknown individuals, coupled with the government's limited response to public concerns, has caused many to suspect that more is going on behind the scenes. There are theories suggesting that some cave systems may be home to undisclosed government installations or secret research facilities. Others take the idea further, proposing that these underground regions may house unknown creatures or even entire subterranean communities that exist beyond public knowledge. Legends of the underground have long existed in folklore, particularly among Native American tribes. These ancient cultures spoke of beings living beneath the earth, some helpful, others dangerous. Although these stories were often dismissed as myth, modern-day encounters and the volume of missing person reports have led some to reconsider whether those old tales might contain a hint of truth. One of the most well-known cave systems in the world, Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, stretches for hundreds of miles, much of it still unmapped. The sheer scale of such networks leaves open the possibility that people could enter one of these vast caverns and become lost, or possibly find themselves in areas from which escape is impossible. Even experienced hikers have disappeared near these remote areas under conditions that defy logic, with their last known locations often far from any path or trail. In some of the most baffling cases, those who were eventually found were discovered in places that would have been nearly impossible to reach on foot, especially given the time frame and weather conditions. Some were located in steep terrain or across natural barriers that would take days to traverse, leading search and rescue experts to scratch their heads and question how the individuals got there. Despite this mounting body of anecdotal evidence and growing public interest, there has been little official recognition of any unusual connection between missing persons and cave systems. Most law enforcement agencies and park officials continue to treat each case as isolated, usually attributing them to environmental hazards, human error, or wildlife encounters. While those explanations may account for many disappearances, the consistent patterns and eerie circumstances surrounding some cases continue to stir public curiosity. The emergence of viral posts and online research highlighting the eerie correlation between cave locations and disappearances has only intensified the debate. Independent forums and social media platforms have become hotbeds of discussion, with amateur sleuths, hikers, and former investigators all contributing to the conversation. For now, the truth remains elusive. What is known is that the cave systems of the United States are vast, ancient, and largely unexplored. They stretch for thousands of miles underground, often through dangerous and inaccessible terrain. Whether these dark places hide natural dangers, secret operations, or something beyond human understanding, they remain a focal point of some of the country's most baffling missing persons cases. Until more answers emerge, the mystery will persist, etched into maps, whispered through online threads, and carried in the worried hearts of families still waiting for loved ones to come home. Whatever lies beneath the surface, one thing is certain. The hidden world of America's caves may hold secrets far more unsettling than we are prepared to face. The mysterious Gobleki Tepe situation is unraveling. Gobleki Tepe, an archaeological site in southeastern Turkey, has been at the center of historical interest and mystery since its discovery. Dating back over 11,000 years, it is believed to be one of the oldest known temples or ceremonial structures ever built by humanity, predating Stonehenge by several millennia. However, in recent weeks, rumors and theories have emerged, claiming that excavation work at Gobleki Tepe has mysteriously slowed down or stopped altogether. Even more intriguing, some assert that trees have been deliberately planted across the site to halt future archaeological efforts and prevent historians from uncovering more of our ancient past. Since 2016, all excavation activities at Gobleki Tepe, a site of utmost historical importance, have ceased. Instead, a roof has been erected above the site, and portions requiring excavation have been concealed by arboreal cover. Furthermore, the use of heavy machinery to build roadways over the excavation site aroused worry comparable to how filling the interior of Hagia Sophia with drywall or replacing the seating stones of an antique theatre with new marble. Their roots will penetrate stones that are a minimum of 11,000 years old, rendering future excavations nearly unfeasible. Covering an archaeological site with concrete has no validity if not explained to the residents of that country. The interesting element is that the Turkish population remains mainly oblivious. Eventually, the archaeological community and the residents who are aware of the matter are curious as to how such folly can be explained by executives of Dogus Group, leaving this issue unanswered. Klaus Schmidt's widow, who is also an archaeologist, makes annual journeys to Gobleki Tepe. Shocked by the alterations, she has called the situation as ludicrous and has uploaded unseen photographs of the roadwork on Instagram, generating more conflict within the archaeological community. In light of these developments, the site's formal opening date for tourists has been declared. This revelation indicates how the government's purpose with Gobleki Tepe is purely economic, meaning no archaeological development is anticipated for any time soon, generating concerns in the archaeology world. These recent announcements taps into a broader narrative about hidden knowledge and the suppression of historical truths. The idea that forces, whether governmental, academic, or even something more nefarious, are working to obscure our understanding of human history. trees planted on top of alleged pyramids in China. In the heart of Anlong County, nestled in the lush landscape of southwest China's Guizhou province, lies a series of pyramidal structures that have captivated archaeologists, historians, and enthusiasts alike. These mysterious formations, often compared to other ancient pyramid sites worldwide, have fueled a mix of scientific curiosity and public speculation. While their exact origins and purpose remain uncertain, the structures have recently drawn attention for an unexpected reason: reports that local officials are planting trees on and around the pyramids. This unusual activity has led some to suggest a deliberate attempt to obscure or cover up these discoveries, adding another layer of intrigue to the story of the Anlong pyramids. The pyramidal structures of Anlong County are impressive for their sheer size and geometry. Rising from the earth in a region known for its karst landscapes, these formations resemble ancient architectural marvels found in civilizations such as Egypt and Mesoamerica. Local folklore has long associated these formations with ancient builders, fueling theories that they are man-made rather than natural geological features. Preliminary studies have indicated that the pyramids are composed of sedimentary rock and are aligned in ways that suggest intentional design. Some researchers have speculated that these formations could be remnants of an ancient and long-forgotten civilization, possibly older than China's recorded history. In recent years, observers have noticed an unusual development: the systematic planting of trees atop and around the pyramidal structures. While reforestation is a common practice in China, aimed at combating deforestation and soil erosion, the specific focus on these structures has raised eyebrows. The dense planting of trees appears to obscure the view of the formations, making it harder for researchers and the public to study or even access them. This activity has sparked a wave of speculation online and among local communities. Some believe it is a deliberate attempt by authorities to hide the pyramids from further scrutiny, possibly to prevent public fascination from spiraling into controversy or to protect sensitive information about the site. The idea of a government cover-up is not without precedent, as China has a history of tightly controlling information about archaeological finds, especially those that could challenge conventional narratives of history. For instance, the famous Terracotta Army and other ancient tombs have been strictly regulated, with only select areas opened for public or academic access. One theory suggests that the Anlong pyramids might hold evidence of a previously unknown civilization, which could potentially rewrite significant portions of Chinese or even global history. The planting of trees could be an attempt to delay excavation and research until officials can better control the narrative or assess the implications of the discoveries. The planting of trees has not gone unnoticed by locals, and several amateur researchers and tourists who have visited the area have documented the changing landscape around the pyramids. Some researchers have expressed frustration, noting that tree roots could potentially damage any underlying structures, complicating future research. Others argue that even if the pyramids are natural formations, the planting of trees could make geological studies more challenging. In both cases, the addition of vegetation has made it harder to discern the true nature of the formations. Meanwhile, some report that the site may hold evidence of involvement by previous advanced civilizations that lived in the area thousands of years ago, citing similarities between the Anlong pyramids and other ancient pyramid structures worldwide. For now, the true nature of the Anlong pyramids and the motivation behind the tree planting remain a mystery. Memo claims JFK probed the CIA to release UFO files 10 days before he was taken out. During conversations about the long-classified John F. Kennedy files, a resurfaced memo allegedly written by the former president has reignited speculation regarding his interest in UFOs. Dated November 12, 1963, just 10 days before he lost his life, the memo reportedly shows Kennedy requesting the CIA director to brief him on all available UFO intelligence. Although the recipient's name is redacted, John McCone was leading the agency at the time, making him the likely recipient of the request. In the letter, Kennedy expressed concern over unidentified objects in the skies, particularly in relation to the Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union. He emphasized the importance of distinguishing unknown aerial phenomena from potential American surveillance operations. His request sought to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to catastrophic consequences if the Soviets mistook a UFO for US espionage activity. The memo also called for the establishment of a data-sharing program with NASA to ensure mission directors could properly account for unidentified objects in their defensive planning. The document first came to public attention through William Lester, a researcher who claimed to have obtained it under the Freedom of Information Act while working on his 2011 book. The memo's authenticity remains uncertain, as the CIA has neither confirmed nor denied its validity. The agency has consistently declined to comment on the matter, adding to the mystery surrounding Kennedy's interest in classified UFO files. The timing of Kennedy's alleged request and his departure has fueled speculation that his pursuit of classified UFO intelligence may have played a role in his untimely passing. Whether the memo is genuine or part of a broader ploy, it remains a compelling piece of history. Marina Popovich and the mystery of the Phobos 2 mission. The Phobos 2 mission remains one of the most mysterious and controversial space explorations in history. Launched by the Soviet Union in July 1988, it was the second Soviet spacecraft designed to study Phobos, the mysterious moon of Mars. While its primary mission was to analyze the Martian atmosphere and surface, Phobos 2 ultimately became the center of intense speculation after it captured an image of what appeared to be an unidentified object near the Martian surface. The mission's abrupt loss of communication soon after transmitting these images only deepened the mystery. On March 27, 1989, just months before Phobos 2 lost contact with Earth, the spacecraft sent back a series of astonishing images. Among them was one that sparked worldwide intrigue, a photograph of a long cylindrical object hovering above the Martian surface. Unlike anything previously observed in space, this object had a smooth, structured appearance and cast a distinct shadow on the terrain below. The clarity of the shadow indicated that the object was not an illusion caused by light or atmospheric conditions, but rather a tangible, physical entity. This discovery raised immediate questions. The elongated, cigar-shaped structure did not resemble any known asteroid or natural Martian formation. It remained stationary in a controlled position, unlike typical space debris that tumbles and drifts unpredictably through space. Some researchers noted that this mysterious object bore striking similarities to other reported sightings of cigar-shaped UFOs, both in Earth's atmosphere and beyond. The fact that an unmanned Soviet spacecraft orbiting Mars had captured such an image only intensified the debate over its possible origins. What happened immediately after the image was taken remains one of the most puzzling aspects of the Phobos 2 mission. Shortly after transmitting the images back to mission control, the spacecraft abruptly lost contact with Earth. Up until that moment, Phobos 2 had been operating normally. The sudden and unexplained disappearance of the spacecraft fueled speculation that its encounter with the unidentified object was directly linked to its fate. Some suggested that the spacecraft had been deliberately disabled by an unknown force, possibly to prevent further transmission of images. Others proposed that the presence of the object interfered with Phobos 2's systems, causing it to fail in an inexplicable manner. The Soviet Space Agency never provided a definitive explanation for the loss of Phobos 2. While technical failures were considered, the timing of the spacecraft's disappearance, occurring just after capturing the image, left many unanswered questions. The mystery surrounding the mission gained further traction when Soviet Air Force's colonel, engineer, and test pilot Marina Popovich held a press conference discussing Phobos 2 and its startling findings. Marina Popovich, a highly decorated Soviet test pilot known for setting over 100 aviation world records, publicly stated that the images captured by Phobos 2 revealed something extraordinary. She insisted that the cylindrical object was not a mere anomaly, but rather evidence of an unexplained presence near Mars. Her claims added weight to the growing belief that Phobos 2 had encountered something beyond human understanding. Beyond the Phobos 2 incident, Popovich also made other bold statements regarding UFO encounters. She claimed that both Soviet military and civilian pilots had confirmed at least 3,000 UFO sightings. Additionally, she asserted that the Soviet Air Forces and the KGB had recovered fragments of 5 crashed UFOs. Her testimony suggested that the Soviet government had long been aware of extraterrestrial phenomena but had chosen to keep such knowledge classified. Popovich's revelations reinforced the idea that the Phobos 2 mission was more than just a failed space exploration effort. Her insistence that the object captured in the images was of great significance added credibility to the notion that mysterious activity was being observed and possibly monitored in space. To this day, the Phobos 2 mission remains a mystery. The cover-up of Ronny Hill's mysterious photograph. In July 1967, a young boy named Ronny Hill captured what is now considered one of the most mysterious and compelling UFO photographs in history. At just 14 years old, Ronny was living in Pamlico County, North Carolina, when he witnessed an unusual event that would leave a lasting mark on UFO research. His photograph, taken in an era when photo manipulation was far more difficult than it is today, remains one of the few pieces of tangible evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. Despite its significance, the case is not well known, even among dedicated UFO researchers. According to Ronny Hill, the incident began when he noticed a strange, spherical object descending near his home. The craft was metallic, smooth, and egg-shaped, a form that has been repeatedly described in UFO sightings over the years. It emitted a strange and overpowering odor that made the air around it feel thick and unbreathable. The craft landed quietly, without any visible signs of propulsion, exhaust, or noise, an aspect that has puzzled skeptics and believers alike. As Ronny watched in awe, a small humanoid figure emerged from the craft. The entity that stepped out of the UFO was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It was short in stature and dressed in a metallic silver suit. The figure moved with a sense of purpose, seemingly engaged in some unknown task, before quickly retreating into the craft. Without warning, the object lifted off and disappeared into the sky. The entire event unfolded within moments, but Ronny managed to snap a single photograph of the encounter. The image, though grainy and taken under less than ideal conditions, clearly shows a small humanoid figure standing in front of an egg-shaped craft. What makes Ronny Hill's photograph particularly intriguing is the consistency of its details with other UFO sightings. Over the years, many reports have described egg-shaped UFOs that appear to lack any visible means of flight. They often hover soundlessly, maneuvering in ways that defy modern aviation technology. These objects are typically metallic and seamless, with no visible engines, exhaust, or rotors. The descriptions match the craft captured in Ronny's photograph decades ago, lending credibility to his account. Despite the fascinating nature of the image, the story of Ronny Hill's UFO encounter never gained the widespread attention it deserved. In an era before the internet, when UFO reports were often dismissed outright, his photograph remained a relatively obscure piece of evidence. Even within UFO research circles, the case is rarely discussed, overshadowed by more famous encounters. However, those who have examined the image closely argue that it is one of the most authentic photographic pieces of UFO evidence ever captured. Some have attempted to dismiss the photograph, suggesting it could be the result of a hoax or an elaborate misunderstanding. However, given that Ronny was only 14 years old at the time, the likelihood of him fabricating such an event, especially in an era without advanced photo editing tools, remains slim. There were no known UFO hoaxes in the area at the time, and no records suggest that Ronny or his family sought fame or monetary gain from the incident. The details of his encounter align eerily well with reports that would emerge decades later, further strengthening the case for its authenticity. The significance of the Ronny Hill photograph continues to grow as modern UFO reports increasingly reference egg-shaped crafts. With recent government disclosures and declassified military encounters confirming the presence of unidentified aerial phenomena, many researchers are revisiting older cases to find patterns and similarities. Ronny's case stands out not only because of its compelling image, but also because it predates modern discussions of UAPs by several decades. Even after more than 50 years, the mystery surrounding the photograph remains unsolved. The Manchester Airport cover-up. A recent and perplexing UFO sighting at Manchester Airport has become the focus of widespread discussion, intrigue, and controversy. The incident, which was allegedly captured by a commercial airline pilot using the pseudonym Bigelow, has caused many to question not only the nature of the sighting itself, but also the strange circumstances that followed its publication. At the center of the story is a mysterious, silver orb-shaped object that was seen hovering at low altitude near one of the airport's tarmacs, before accelerating vertically and vanishing. what has truly fueled the theory is the immediate and unexplained disappearance of the pilot from all major online platforms following the release of his footage. The sighting reportedly occurred while the pilot was sitting in the cockpit preparing for departure. It was during this routine moment that he noticed the peculiar object, a small metallic orb floating silently just inches above the ground. Unlike a drone, aircraft, or any conventional flying machine, the orb had no visible source of propulsion, made no sound, and reflected sunlight with an almost glass-like shimmer. The pilot described the scene as eerie and out of place, something that defied logic, even for someone accustomed to high-level aviation. When nearby airport personnel began to move toward the orb, it responded not with aggression or evasion in a traditional sense, but by suddenly launching upward at incredible speed. Within moments, it had vanished from sight. This behavior, including the absence of any noise or vapor trail, has led to speculation that the object was not man-made. Bigelow, disturbed yet fascinated, recorded the event on his phone through the cockpit window. He shared his account on Twitter along with the footage, prompting an immediate response from thousands online who echoed his awe and confusion. However, within hours, his account was suspended without explanation. Attempting to keep the conversation going, the pilot turned to Reddit, only for his posts, and soon after his account, to also disappear. The timing of these takedowns struck many as more than coincidence. Social media users began to speculate that the platforms were pressured to remove the content, possibly by government agencies or other influential entities. What was meant to be a transparent sharing of a strange experience quickly transformed into what many are now calling an orchestrated cover-up. Adding to the mystery is the complete silence from Manchester Airport and aviation authorities. No official statements have been issued. Questions about radar activity, pilot testimony, or whether other personnel witnessed the orb remain unanswered. The silence only deepens public suspicion. Some believe that the orb may have been part of a secret military or aerospace project. Given Manchester Airport's proximity to certain classified research facilities, this isn't entirely outside the realm of possibility, but skeptics argue against this theory, pointing out that advanced and highly confidential technology would never be so carelessly tested in plain sight at a busy commercial airport. The other, more provocative theory is that the orb was of extraterrestrial origin. Its perfect symmetry, metallic finish, and incredible speed mimic characteristics reported in numerous UFO encounters from around the world. Some believe that this incident may have been an attempt by such entities to observe human infrastructure, particularly high-traffic areas like airports, which are crucial hubs of human activity. If true, this encounter would raise questions about the intent behind such visitations and whether these events are part of a broader pattern of silent observation. Supporters of the cover-up theory argue that there is a long-standing tradition of governments minimizing or suppressing public access to credible UFO evidence. From the early days of aviation to the more recent disclosures of unidentified aerial phenomena, the narrative often involves missing records, muzzled witnesses, and an overall reluctance to confirm anything that strays too far from conventional understanding. The abrupt removal of Bigelow's content and his online disappearance have, for many, reinforced the notion that such efforts to control information are still very much in place. The implications of such a cover-up are vast. If the object was truly extraterrestrial in origin, this incident adds to a growing list of encounters that challenge what humanity knows about technology, propulsion, and our place in the universe. If the orb was human-made, it suggests that there are developments occurring beyond public knowledge, technological advancements kept hidden under strict classification. Either way, the suppression of information from witnesses like Bigelow does little to calm curiosity and much to inspire suspicion.